AM 1240 WJON. We're back here with another candidate forum. We're with the gentlemen who are running for St. Cloud City Council, Ward 1, Dave Masters and John Palmer. And John, as I told you, coming out of the commercial break, we'll start with you. I want to know, what are some of your top issues?
Oh, glad to tell you. My top issue is crime. When I began to do some research about our community, I found a site called Area Vibes that determines livability of the community. This was over 7-8 months ago. And they provide a grade for the city across a variety of topics. And when it comes to crime, the city of St. Cloud receives an F.
Really?
But yes, we're above the national average and above the statewide average for the crime rate. What's particularly troubling is the crime rate that's associated with violent crime. So I'm very interested in engaging in crime prevention and putting crime on the agenda. The second thing I'm interested in is economic development.
Okay.
Under the current administration and current council, we have had a consistent exodus of employers, closing of businesses, storefronts remaining empty, colossal failures. My opponent talks about public investment. Keep in mind, public investment means paid with public dollars, often borrowed, which means it passes the debt on to future generations. When I talk about economic development, I'm talking about development in the private sector that creates taxable property, that creates economic activity, that generates revenue for the city, and I'm very concerned about the message the city is sending out regarding private development. The third is personal freedom. All you have to do is look at the video of the study session last week to find out that the conversation was about regulating an entity that, as far as I know, we've never identified as having a problem. We're talking Uber, Lyft, and the like. They were talking about regulating it. Well, you shouldn't be talking about regulation until you can identify the nature of the problem. A second thing they talked about is illustrated by the hat I have here in front of me. It's from the Edelbrock neighborhood. There was discussion about the neighborhood and neighborhood associations. The Edelbrook people tell me they can't call themselves their name. They don't. Somewhere in the process, they're not allowed to be in part of the coalition and call themselves their name. I also have another hat, a blue hat that I wear when I go to my favorite restaurant. I won't identify it because they should pay for commercials. I have a third hat, which reminds me of what happened to my father in World War II, because some people would look at this beret and say it's French. It's not. It's Basque.
Okay.
And there's a fundamental difference between being a Basque and being a Frenchman. So if you wear it and somebody calls you French and you're Basque, they take it as an insult. The fourth hat I have here is one that I offered to my opponent and every other council member. It is a red hat that says, "Make St. Cloud great again," and again, and again. On my webpage, I have a site, or I have a quote from Benjamin Franklin. "Without continual growth and progress, such words as improvement, achievement, and success have no meaning." This hat is offered in that spirit. Yet, this hat has resulted in people being pejoratively referred to as red hat people.
Okay.
Well, the people that are wearing the red hat have embraced it and called for red hat forums. We have a forum coming up on Wednesday where Steve Young from the Co-Round Table is going to be sharing principles for government based on the Co-Round Table. I offer all of that because it seems to me it shouldn't matter what color your hat is, what shape your hat is, in terms of how one interacts with people, no differently than how one interacts with people based on the color of their skin, their ethnicity, or their religious orientation. Yet there are people in this community that take offense at a red hat, of all things, a red hat.
All right. I'm going to stop you right
Yes.
there because we got 5 minutes in there. I'd like to get Dave Masters a little bit of chance to talk. And Dave, what are some of the key issues you have when you're running here for City Council?
Okay, well, first of all, I want to talk about Dr. Palmer. I didn't interrupt you. I appreciate if you did not interrupt me as I'm going through some of these. I have the statistics from the police department in regards to Part 1 offenses and Part 2. Part 1 is serious crimes. Part 2 is lesser crimes and so forth. At your website, according to your data, you say that 90.
It's not my data.
This was at your website on your webpage. Any citizen can go take a look at it. According to an annual crime data, the crime rate in St. Cloud is 92% higher than the whole state of Minnesota. It says St. Cloud's rate is higher than the national average by 61%. You're basing these decisions on 100,000 people population. In reality, it is $168,000 is what 186,000 people in the St. Cloud area. So they're really, if you look at the statistics that are on the St. Cloud Police Department crime report, it shows that it's basically the same level as it was 20 years ago. So there hasn't been an increase, even though population has shown increase. So and I'm asking people to check the data that's being relayed from Dr. Palmer. And,
it's not my data.
It's on your website. It's
not
on your
my
campaign.
data. It's data that came from the FBI.
We're going to let Dave finish up here. He's still on his clock.
Okay. So the next thing is I want to ask also people to scrutinize the information that comes out. Liz Backlish brought before the council on August 6th 22 questions and so forth. Are there grooming rape gangs in St. Cloud? How do you determine if there are not such gangs? Things such as, do we have 150 pimps in St. Cloud? Are there over 300 girls missing? You know, I asked the police chief to take a look at these 22 various items, and he wrote out an explanation back for each of these. And, for example, there is no evidence of factual support of this assertion that there are grooming rape gangs. They talk about, on this piece of document, 0 rapes are acceptable. They ask the question, what is the number of young girls being raped in St. Cloud find acceptable to maintain its welcoming city status? You know, I find this kind of information to be outrageous. You know,
I find you to be outrageous
to make claims of this,
things.
To make claims of this nature. You know, you yourself.
There aren't any claims in a question, Dave.
Okay.
As a teacher, you should know that. You ask a question to get an answer.
Okay. The next thing I'd like to talk about is regards to, you know, you have the C cubed and so forth. I'd like the public to read the editorial by Natalie Ringsmuth, which is Make St. Cloud Great Again. Red Hat Forum stifles open conversations.
Are you going to read the letter to the editor that the person put in?
Could I finish, please, Dr. Palmer?
Well, you're going to be
I was
selective.
quiet. I was quiet for you.
I told you I
would expect
not interrupt
the
if you
same
didn't lie.
discourse. I'm not lying. This is right from the St. Cloud Times. This is
the Times doesn't lie.
Hey, we're going to keep this. We're going to keep this civil now.
It is civil. If he stops lying, that's civility. And when he distorts, spins, and lies, I'm not going to sit here and take it.
We have your chance to talk.
Good.
It's on Mr. Masters' turn to talk now, so we're going to let him finish up. He's still on the clock.
In regards to economic development, we have recently the Costco development. We have Popeyes coming. Costco allowed for the purchase of 53 acres of parkland that I just attended yesterday at Talahi Woods. You know, they'll have Riverside Park will be over 100 acres going forward. I think that's a big asset. You know, there is still 87 acres, I believe, left at Heritage Park after the 17 acres was sold. I think the money that's coming in from Costco can be used for economic development in the area, and the half-cent sales tax can be used for projects within the area. Housing, we're looking at 378 new apartments being built at Liberty Glen, Senior Living Highway 15, Torberg Apartments near Stayfit. Residential building permits are up. The old Subaru site on Division is going to be retail restaurants. There's a coffee shop going in across from City Hall. There's just a number of things that are happening. You know, I want to emphasize that this idea that the sky is falling and that it's doom and gloom is not the perception of a lot of people. That may be your perception, Dr. Palmer, but it's not the perception of a lot of people. A lot of people think St. Cloud is a great place to live, and I'm one of them. And I want to continue to be optimistic and support the citizens of St. Cloud.
All right, we got.
I'd like to instruct Dave about statistics.
Well, we got about 5 minutes left.
Yeah, I
total.
want to make sure people understand that he distorted the statistics that are reported. This number one is not my data. It's data assembled from FBI records. It's presented in a format that allows comparison across
on your
cities.
campaign website.
It allows for comparisons based on a rate, not a census, a rate per 100,000, which allows you then to compare.
When to make the comparison of 92%
he's
higher.
Not talking about St. Cloud.
Okay, here we go. We got just a few minutes left. I want to get you guys at least one final statement from both of you. So if there's something you want to say to the voters on why they should go vote for you, that's fine. Give us our last bit of statement, because we only have right now just a few more minutes left.
Dave has made my case for me, because if you believe what he says about this community, you're going to vote for him because everything is just fine. I don't believe that this community is growing and prospering, and so too do a lot of people looking at it from the outside. I'm a voice for change to improve the economic development, to reduce crime in the area, to enhance personal freedom, and to make sure that every citizen's voice is heard and listened to without rolling eyes, without crossed arms, without a response from the council member. I guarantee, if elected council member, I will respond to all emails, phone calls, even if they come from people that I may or may not disagree with. So the choice is clear. If you like the last 12 years, you're going to vote for a guy who wants to serve another 4. If you want change, you're going to vote for me. And I ask you to vote for me to improve the city. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. Now, Mr. Palmer, you had your chance to speak. I'm going to give final thoughts to Mr. Masters here, and then we're going to have to wrap this up. So, Dave, any final thoughts for you?
I do. You know, I just want to mention to the voters that this is a crucial election. You know, there is a representative running from the C-cubed, Dr. Palmer, Liz Backlich, Conley, I forget the other, Paul. Brandemeyer is running. They're all running with the same agenda, is to put in place, basically, the moratorium and to segregate the discussion within the city. You know, that's been discussed already to some degree. And I have a concern that that kind of is going to take the city backwards. We have challenges, but we've made a lot of progress. And we need to continue to have that open dialogue and discussion in a manner that is civil and in order to make the city a better place to live. I was lucky enough to live in St. Cloud. You know, when I was in 9th grade, the population, according to Alexa, was 39,161. Today, it's a daytime population of 168,000. We are going to have challenges, but if we come together and work together, we can overcome the challenges and make St. Cloud the livable city that is, by Minnesota Monthly, ranked one of the top 10 cities in the state of Minnesota.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for taking the time and chat with me today. I appreciate it. And we have listened now to the candidates for St. Cloud City Council for Ward 1, Dave Masters and John Palmer. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.